morning, we are learning some new details about what was going on behind the scenes at the Department of Justice after an IRS whistleblower came forward alleging federal prosecutors were giving first son Hunter Biden some special treatment. An attorney representing Gary Shapley, who you may remember testified before Congress earlier this summer, says after his client raised concerns, the Justice Department reached out not only to them, but also to lawyers for Hunter Biden. Attorney Mark Little telling the New York Post, quote, "After our client offered whistleblower testimony to Congress, Lisa Monaco's right-hand man, Bradley Weisenheimer, scheduled a meeting with Mr. Biden's defense counsel to appeal over the head of Mr. Weiss in a way that was totally at odds with the narrative that David Weiss was acting independently." Now, Weiss, who is the U.S. attorney out in Delaware, appointed by former President Trump to oversee the Hunter case, has denied any wrongdoing, and he's now acting as special counsel in this investigation. Meantime, America First Legal, which is an activist group founded by former Trump aide Stephen Miller, says through Freedom of Information Act requests, it's discovered how often Hunter Biden would interact with then Vice President Biden's office. They tallied it up. The group says records show during the Obama-Biden years, at least 800 White House emails reference an investment firm that Hunter co-founded. And you can see also emails released by the White House totaling some 200. Some emails even to show how close the relationship Hunter Biden had with then Secretary of State John Kerry. There's an email which shows that the Secretary Kerry was working to make himself available to a class at Georgetown that Hunter Biden was teaching. Now, the emails America First obtained basically show a lot of scheduling requests, asking for tours to like the White House Christmas party, stuff to that effect. But for lawmakers, this may raise fresh questions about what was happening behind the scenes and whether or not first son Hunter Biden and then Vice President's son Hunter Biden was using his dad's connections too far.
There is an audio tape, I am told, by people in the know, but there is incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption that is about to be made public. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen before Labor Day, but it will happen sometime between Labor Day and Halloween.
Ooh, spooky, a Halloween surprise. Are you ready, baby? Today is Thursday, August 31st, 2023. We are back after a hurricane, right back in the studio in Tampa, Florida. All is well, all is good, family safe. Everyone, thank you so much for your reaching out. So many people reached out, make sure we were good, make sure we were okay. We drove around a little bit yesterday, and everything is set. Everything is good. Everything is solid here in Tampa Bay. God bless. And of course, we thank all of the first responders and all of the linemen and all the people that can keep us going today. Bombshell claims say tapes with incriminating evidence against Joe Biden will be released as soon as the House prepares impeachment inquiries. Trump plots revenge, threatens to lock up opponents, and based Jaden, the 12-year-old schoolboy with the Gadsden flag patch, joins the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Yesterday, we again were out filming in Tampa Bay. We had piled up into my vehicle. I went with my wife out to go sort of see the flooding. There was a lot of flooding. There was a lot of debris. There was a lot of people having their homes flooded, and some cars we saw floating down the road. Saw some benches floating down the road, and we documented all of it. I even caught a catfish. Maybe we can get that pulled. Can we get that pulled? I'll show you me catching a catfish with my bare hands. It was a very stupid thing to do, apparently, because they have poisonous barbs. Anyway, we were up all night making sure that everything was good, and we had, of course, two little kids who were up all the time. How do we keep powered in the morning? We do it with our blackout coffee. Our blackout coffee is what I drink. It keeps us going, and it keeps us energized to fight the communists. Ladies and gentlemen, I do drink blackout coffee every single morning. It is right here in my little tumbler cup. You can hear it jangling around. It's still a little hot here in Tampa, so I get my iced coffee. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the coupon code Benny for 20% off your order. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Stay true to your values. Now, my values, I guess we'll get it loaded up. Are we gonna? Yeah, okay, we'll get it loaded up. My values are, if I see a fish swimming on the sidewalk, go grab it and throw it back into the bay. This is what Tampa Bay looked like yesterday. There you go. See ya, Free Willy. There's the fish And it's gone. Now, there were a couple of people who took this video of me trying to do a nice act and turned it into a meme. Whoa. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is exactly how the events transpired. I'm not sure. I didn't have the right angle. What happens in this one? Okay, so I see a catfish. We catch the catfish. I try and throw it. I try and be a good guy. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, sir. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. There's the Joe Biden fish. See ya. And throw him right there. I'm throwing him towards Cuba, so I'm throwing Joe Biden into Guantanamo Bay. That is what I'm doing. All right. So a bunch of people jumped into my Menchies and said, whoa, Benny, you got problems, pal. Because these catfish, they got poisonous barbs on them, and you could have gotten really badly hurt. But what they don't understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that I have the capacity to communicate with the fish, and I was able to tell it, I'm just trying to save you. I am simply trying to save you. I'm simply trying to help you, and I will get you where you need to go. And that is exactly what I do every single day on this show. With the brigade. With all of us. I am just trying to help, and I'm trying to point out what is about to happen. If you are going to be disappointed, if you are going to be encouraged, and it's why we, unlike every other show, I think, effectively in the conservative space, have been staying on the Biden corruption story like a dog with a bone, like a catfish with a hook in its mouth. I don't think that catfish had a hook in its mouth. A big-sized catfish, by the way. It's probably like a 1 pound, 1.5 pound catfish. Anyway, what's the point? The point is that it might have gotten a little redundant over the sleepy summer. It might have gotten a little redundant. But this is what libs do. You see, the libs, with their fake stories, with stories that aren't even real, they go after Trump. Okay, Donald Trump, Russia! Like, they'll scream. Like, stories that are frauds, stories that are hoaxes. They'll scream it from the top of the buildings. They'll make it so loud that it'll, like, try and seep through. And if they don't want you to know the story, well, they won't talk about it at all. It'll be like a whisper. They won't even acknowledge its existence, right? And so that is why it is our job. If we're going to sit and complain as conservatives about the corporate press, and some members of Congress come onto our show and complain about the corporate media isn't covering things, we're more powerful. We have a bigger reach. We can actually create the mechanisms for these people to be held accountable, the Biden crime family to be held accountable. All we have to do is keep the pressure up. We have proven as a movement that we can tank the stock of Bud Light. We can destroy Target, these massive multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations. We can turn woke school boards on a dime against the communist school teachers, which we will prove when young Jaden joins the show. 12-year-old from Colorado who's been wearing his Gadsden flag patch and who has won a massive victory against the communists at his school board. We can win if we decide, and if we stand upright, and if we march forward, we can defeat them. But it's going to take shows like ours doing the extra work, audiences like yourselves, and our movement, the Benny Brigade movement, is going to take us marching forward on an issue. And so we have like stayed on the Biden corruption issue day and night, night and day. Because this is how we win. We don't need the corporate press to report on it. We can report on it. If we wake enough people up, we win. It's awesome. But it is a huge responsibility. And we're just one show. So we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing. And ladies and gentlemen, a couple of weeks ago I brought you the news that Joe Biden's going to get impeached. Joe Biden's going to get impeached, and that the members of the House are going to bring up an impeachment inquiry as soon as they get back next week. And then they are going to begin the impeachment of Joe Biden, and around Christmas time, Joe Biden's going to be impeached. A little bit after Christmas is what the plan is right now. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. Now, what I didn't plan on was that all of the Democrats who are effectively just PR organs, like just organs of PR companies in Washington, D.C., that they were already watching this show and getting their scripts ready, okay? Here's video of Hakeem Jeffries. There's a guy who's in charge of the Democrats in the House. This is the new Nancy Pelosi. Nancy's too busy with the hammer parties at her house. She doesn't have the time. She's insider trading. Nancy Pelosi has given this position to Hakeem Jeffries. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, over the last few days, this clip is from Tuesday, is straight up telling you what their PR template will be for the Joe Biden impeachment they know is going to happen. Watch.
They just continue to take orders from Donald Trump, their puppet master in chief, who has directed them to persecute and to go after Joe Biden, which may take the form of an illegitimate impeachment inquiry.
You see that? You see how bad they are? See these pantomime Muppets. The hand motions, right? Like he's been coached, right, by the best PR operations in Washington, D.C. Jen Psaki, by the way, runs like a huge PR firm in D.C. That's what Jen Psaki does. So he's been coached. You see the hand movements? Here's what they're going to do. This was how the coaching went for Hakeem Jeffries. You're going to say that this is just Donald Trump. You're going to try and muddy the water by saying it's all about Trump. Trump's ordering them to impeach Joe Biden, and they're going to do an illegitimate impeachment. Okay? That's what they are trotting out because they are so terrified about what is about to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you could see it with also the defense of Joe Biden. They're going to try desperately to defend him. Listen to Hakeem Jeffries' defense of Joe Biden on CNN just about 48 hours ago.
Are you confident when you look at what the Justice Department has done, when you look at the investigations into Hunter Biden that the Republicans have pursued up to this point, that there hasn't been any wrongdoing, everything's been above board?
Yes, I'm extremely confident. The American people know fundamentally that Joe Biden is a good and decent man who's dedicated his life to public service and will continue to serve the people honorably and admirably.
Oh, okay. So do you know that Joe Biden is a good and decent man with an illegitimate impeachment run by Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump has so much power right now. Donald Trump's totally in elected office. This is what's going on. These are the talking points. Joe Biden is a good and decent man. All right? That's what the show is all about. This show is about proving that Joe Biden is not a good and decent man, not because we have any type of like deep loathing of Joe Biden. We certainly do, but because the evidence, of course, is incontrovertible in the opposite direction. As ever, here is the photo of Joe Biden with his kids in a hospital bed next to him after a fatal car accident. Joe Biden's wife dies in this car accident. Nobody's trying to say that's not a tragedy. It's a horrible thing that happened. Joe Biden's daughter dies in this. And then Joe Biden uses his kids in hospital beds. There's Hunter right there. Hunter's in the hospital bed. Let's wheel the podium right up to the hospital bed and use it as a prop. My kid in the hospital bed as a prop. Joe Biden is not a good and decent man. Joe Biden is a craven, power-hungry, bloodthirsty lunatic who is sent 500,000 people to their deaths in Ukraine in order to cover up his illegal dealings in Ukraine. And how terrified are they of what's going on? It's so important to break the matrix, all right? And that's what we do on the show. We see what's actually happening. Watch Cringe Jean-Pierre in what will be a cringe alert. Watch Cringe Jean-Pierre have to answer, this is from a couple of days ago, have to answer these questions about Hunter Biden and the business deal. I mean, at this point, you can't escape what's about to happen. And boy, do we have some interesting news for you after we play this clip. Boy, do we have the bombshell for you from one of our old friends. Ooh, baby, you're going to love this. Watch the panic from old Cringy at the White House.
The Secret Service is paying $16,000 a month now to stage near Hunter Biden in Malibu. Who's paying for that?
That's a question for the Secret Service.
Okay, Hunter Biden is reportedly selling art to pay for his $15,800 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that people are not going to be buying this art to gain favor with the president?
That is a question for Hunter Biden and his representatives.
It's a question
I know.
of
I hear.
ethics at the White House. We know that one of the art buyers got a job from the Biden administration. Can you guarantee that there is no quid pro quo?
I hear your question. I'm not going to get involved in this. That is a question for Hunter Biden's representatives.
But we know that from a Hunter Biden associate now that he sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident that he has stopped doing that?
That is a question for Hunter Biden. And
If
his
somebody is
representatives.
selling the appearance of access to the White House, that is a question for the White House.
No, that is your I don't know how you're perceiving that.
Sworn testimony by Devin Archer. He said,
I am just not, Peter. I'm just not going to get into this.
I love the smell of panic in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an old colleague. His name is Greg Kelly. Now, as you know, this past year, we parted ways with Newsmax, not in the Tucker Carlson Fox News style way, in the sense that I knew that we needed to spend all of our time here on this audience. To make this show work, we need to do 100% here. I had a nice time at Newsmax. I got to meet some amazing hosts. I enjoyed my time at Newsmax, and I have a wonderful relationship with Newsmax. I appear on Newsmax still to this day. I just don't have a show there, and we mothballed the Benny Report. That was our show on Newsmax for the better part of 2.5 years. One of my former colleagues, named Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly, who has a top-rated show, absolutely bombshell show. He beats CNN all the times in the ratings. Greg Kelly is a wonderful journalist, a wonderful reporter. Did you know that Greg Kelly, that his father was the police commissioner of New York? Did you know that Greg Kelly was a Marine officer and had active tours of military duty for a decade from the 90s through 2000? That he was part of a Marine attack squadron? Do you know that Greg Kelly has had a extremely successful career in the United States military during the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq? That Greg Kelly was a reporter inside of the United States Army's 3rd Infantry Division, 2nd Brigade. Greg Kelly is a lieutenant colonel. That is why you should listen to Greg Kelly. We're big fans of Greg Kelly here. Check out this article. Greg Kelly, they say Newsmax, but it's Greg's show, teases release of damning Biden audio tape. Well, what exactly is this, huh? Greg Kelly saying that this audio tape will end Joe Biden's political career. What is inside of this tape? Greg Kelly says that it is incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption. There is an audio tape that I am told by people in the know, not necessarily government, not necessarily out of government, I can't say too much, but there's incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption that is about to be made public. And Greg Kelly gives a timeline up to October for when this will be made public. Biden has a big mouth, Kelly says. That got him into a lot of trouble, but he hasn't seen the half of it yet. Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, what I mean by effectively like previewing all of this for you is they know. They know what's about to happen. You need to see it through the lens of them understanding that Joe Biden's already finished. He's already toast. They're trying to salvage the ship that's already underwater. They're trying to pull it back up from the depths. They're aware that what they're going to do in trying and defending Joe Biden is a feckless endeavor. That's why they are prosecuting, persecuting our movement with such demonic veracity. They know that it is untenable what's about to happen to them. They know that we will return to power. And they know that what they've done is they've hardened all of us to what they are capable of, these Marxists, these neo-Marxists that run our government. I have said for a long time, these are moves of desperation, not moves of power. And they are, indeed, moves of abject and total screaming desperation, trying to put Donald Trump, he threw his toothpick not into the recycle bin. Lock them up. They know. They know. They know. They know it's fraudulent. And they know what's about to happen. Greg Kelly is well-sourced in law enforcement, well-sourced in military activities. And Greg Kelly says this on his program, that Joe Biden's regime, the days are numbered. Watch.
But he hasn't seen the half of it yet. There is an audio tape, I am told, by people in the know, not necessarily in government, not necessarily out of government. I can't say too much, but there is incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption that is about to be made public. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen before Labor Day, but it will happen sometime between Labor Day and Halloween. This tape will be made public. I'm not sure by what entity at this point, but once it is heard, Joe Biden will have, well, he'll have only two options. Number one, he will not be able to remain a candidate for the presidency for re-election. It will be over and done with. The only thing that he might be able to do, potentially, but probably not, is remain as president. I am told this tape is that incriminating, and they're worried about it right now at the White House. They know about it. They know it's out there. There may be more than one, and it makes a lot of sense.
This is the top-rated show on Newsmax. This is the top-rated host on Newsmax. This is a man with extensive family roots in law enforcement and in military, honorable military service. And Greg Kelly is saying they're done. It's finished. Joe Biden's big mouth is going to get him effectively destroy his final act in his political career. Where have we heard this before? It's starting to ring in our ears. Where have we heard this before? That there are tapes that exist of Joe Biden's crimes. That Joe Biden was so feckless, so irresponsible, that Joe Biden would do on camera and on recordings, would openly commit crimes. Of course, we've shown you Article 2, Section 4, the crimes that can impeach a president, bribery, treason. They're treasonous. You're treasonous to sell out your country, to sell out your billions of dollars of taxpayer money in order to get your kid a plum job. That's treason. It's treason. Not to mention taking money from the Russians and the Chinese. It's treason. Call it what it is. It's also bribery. Where have we heard it before? It's starting to ring in my ears. Well, not too long ago, a couple months ago, beginning of the summer, we, of course, brought you the bombshell from the great Chuck Grassley, a man who I used to intern for when I was a young college Republican, going to school in Iowa. Chuck Grassley saying, no, you don't understand. We have Joe Biden tapes. Huh? What do you mean, tapes? Well, let's listen to the senator explain.
The 1023 produced to the House committees redacted reference that the foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot.
Do you see what's about to happen? They're going to release the tapes. Nothing happens in Washington, D.C. inside of a bubble. There's no such thing as something happening in secret inside of a security state, a total Orwellian oppression, censorship, and monitoring state that is Washington, D.C. Nothing happens in secret. Do you know how big these government agencies are? If there's a recording, do you know how many times that recording's been seen and copied? This is why they couldn't hide the FD-1023, of which Grassley is referring to there, inside the FBI, because too many people have Googled it. Too many people have seen it. You can't hide it. And it's also why our Republican Party, and we are complimentary, of course, of guys like James Comer and Jim Jordan, but there's a lot of cowards in the Republican Party. It's why we have been told, and it's been very curious, because we pick up our phones and we give the old phone calls, right, as is our job to you and our obligation to you, and we call members of Congress and we call senators, and we say, how do you know that some of these weak-kneed, feeble, limp-wristed Republicans will vote with you to impeach Joe Biden? You don't have that huge of a majority, you know. And it only takes a couple of them to flip, and then your impeachment will fail. I've been asking that question day and night. And my response has been met with, oh, we got the evidence. Oh, trust me, nobody will vote to not impeach Joe Biden on the Republican side, and Democrats will vote, actually, to impeach Joe Biden. There will be Democrats in the House that will vote to impeach Joe Biden after we expose him. That's the response I've gotten. I haven't gotten the details that Greg has gotten, but they have something. Greg says it's going to be released by Halloween. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is the first day of September. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Listen to James Comer here. Watch carefully. James Comer asked about impeachment, doing a little bit of a different impeachment song and dance right now than what we've seen from James Comer. What we've seen from James Comer is like, well, we're going to wait until all of the evidence plays out. Not anymore. Watch.
Chair Comer, let's move on to this. Will House Republicans launch an impeachment inquiry into President Biden after Labor Day?
I feel pretty confident we will. I had a long conversation with Speaker McCarthy yesterday. You look at what we found just in the last 10 days with respect to not only the president having pseudonyms in 5,400 emails, but also copying his son in some of them pertaining to Ukraine. That ties Joe Biden to Hunter Biden, to firing the prosecutor for no good reason in Ukraine, only to save Hunter from being investigated for corruption in Ukraine. We also have learned that Hunter Biden flew with his father on Air Force Two 15 times at least. This hasn't been something that Joe Biden has admitted to in the past. He's only said a few times did his son fly on Air Force Two. So the evidence continues to pile in, and one reason that we've waited this long on impeachment inquiry is to make sure that we had as much evidence as possible. And getting this evidence is like pulling teeth. No one in the Biden orbit is cooperating with us. The government is obstructing, but yet we're still able to find more evidence. And I think that everyone in the Republican conference sees now that we have no choice but to move towards impeachment inquiry.
There was a man named Alexander Solzhenitsyn who predicted the downfall of the Soviet regime in Soviet Russia. And what he says in his book, Gulag Archipelago, is when you have enough corruption at the very tops of government, the entire system implodes. It collapses under the weight of its own corruption. It is precisely what you are seeing now. Joe Biden is now being outed by his own librarians. Joe Biden used a pseudonym. Now, why would you use a pseudonym? You'd use a pseudonym only if, you're Joe Biden, right? People know who you are. Why would you use a pseudonym? You use it if you're committing a crime. If my wife opens up my phone and finds that there are long email chains and long text chains where I am known as Mr. McFluffy, lovingly, by those on the chains, and I have an email address that is connected to the U.S. military, which is exactly where Joe Biden's secret little pedo Peter addresses come from. Well, that would raise some concern, wouldn't it? The corruption at the top is so enormous that it is collapsing all of the systems underneath it. Watch.
Have you seen any of them?
I've seen a few. Yes, I have. And I've seen one that had Hunter Biden copied. And that's the most concerning thing. That's where the Democrats have gone stone cold silent in Washington in their defense of Joe Biden. There was an email that was to a pseudonym that was Joe Biden that had Hunter copied on it. And it was an email about Ukraine policy at the same time that Devin Archer testified that the owners of Burisma were squeezing Hunter to call Washington for help. And that's when Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin says, oh, well, he could have called anybody in Washington, and I'm sure they just talked about the weather.
There's a man who has yet to be interviewed by anyone. His name's Tony Bobulinski. He is the person who first came forward with the evidence of the Biden corruptions. Now, you might recall that Tony Bobulinski had a fistful of BlackBerries of evidence that he sent to the FBI. Tony Bobulinski's never testified to the FBI. Tony Bobulinski asked to be brought in before the grand jury in Delaware, was never called in. Tony Bobulinski is finally getting his day in court, you could say. It is the court of the House Oversight Committee. Tony Bobulinski will be called into the House Oversight Committee to finally testify against Joe Biden. The reason why they're terrified about this is because Tony Bobulinski was the first man standing against the Biden regime way back in the day. Tucker Carlson, take it away.
I didn't generate that email. James Gilliard generated that email. And in that email, James Gilliard goes through intimate detail of what each individual's requests were from a compensation perspective and how the equity in the enterprise would be divvied up. Very important. May 13th, that email was generated by somebody else to me. In that email, there's a statement where they go through the equity. Jim Biden's referenced as 10%, doesn't say Biden, it says Jim. And then it has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times, and I had been meeting and talking with Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and Rob Walker and James Gilliard.
How fast we forget. How quickly we forget. This was, of course, the October surprise. Tucker Carlson broadcast this on October 20, 2020. And nobody ever followed up. Well, now finally they're following up. Tony Bobulinski is being brought in to be part of the impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. Expect Bobulinski, because here's how it happens in Congress. They have these closed-door hearings. They bring you in, they get your testimony, and then they get that testimony all written out, and then they have public hearings, impeachment inquiries into Biden. Get ready. Buckle up. Tony Bobulinski is going to be sitting there, hand on the Bible, and he's going to be testifying against Joe. 10% for the big guy? Get ready. Buckle up. We're back at it. Finally, the House GOP is kicking it into high gear. Watch.
Are you going to bring in Tony Bobulinski and ask him about 10% for the big guy?
Yeah, I expect to see Tony Bobulinski in front of an oversight committee hearing very soon. I think he wants to tell his story, and I know the American people want to hear the story. So we're definitely going to hear from Bobulinski very soon. With respect to Sherwin, we've been trying to communicate with Sherwin. But look, Sherwin's going to have to answer for all of these transactions. And where you reference, Sean, where Hunter Biden was paying for things for Joe Biden in these accounts, these are the accounts we're now asking for. And these are the accounts we're probably going to head to court in the very near future to try to obtain.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Buckle up. And this is the place for the Joe Biden impeachment extravaganza. Man, we know all the players. We have all the connections. We know all of these individuals. Jim Jordan is regular on the show. James Comer is regular on the show. Byron Donalds is regular on the show. Marjorie Taylor Greene is regular on the show. Lauren Boebert's regular on the show. Come on, baby. We out here. This is the spot. And we know where all the bodies are buried. Get a load of this. Merrick Garland underling contacted IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley. People have been yelling at me for my mispronunciations. I'm going to work on it. I'm a humble young man from Iowa. Gary Shapley, to discuss his Hunter Biden allegations before he testified, then immediately struck a sweetheart deal with the president's son. Well, that would be called obstruction of justice. Top line here. Top Justice Department officials meddled in the criminal investigation into Hunter Biden and showed favoritism to the first son. Lawyers for key IRS whistleblower claim an exclusive interview with Daily Mail, according to senior IRS investigator Jerry Shapley, revealed top justice officials approached them in April saying that he wanted to investigate Shapley's claims of slow-rolling the obstruction of Hunter's case. They immediately took all of that information and gave Hunter Biden the get-out-of-jail-free ticket. Incredible. How is it that David Weiss is in charge of a special counsel. David Weiss works for the Department of Justice. David Weiss is not allowed to be a special counsel as an employee for the Department of Justice. It has to be something that is appointed outside of the department. Doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. We look forward to Republicans finally growing a pair and going after these criminals. Hunter Biden emails obtained by America First Legal. Stephen Miller was on our show recently, another friend of ours. Remember, this is your impeachment Biden headquarters. From lawsuit against the National Archives reveal over 1,000 emails between Rosemont Seneca and the Office of the Vice President. 1,000 emails? So 1,000 emails between Hunter Biden's firm and the office of Joe Biden. Oh boy. What exactly will that entail? And by the way, remember this whole pseudonym business, they always use a pseudonym for Joe Biden. The big guy. That's what it is. The big guy. Who's responsible? The old George Costanza line. Frank Costanza, George's father. My son George couldn't hatch a scheme like this. Hey, Alex, help me out. What's the actual line? My son George isn't bright enough to hatch a scheme like this. Of course, Joe Biden isn't smart enough to figure this stuff out by himself. Newt Gingrich is saying that we need to expand the operation to look at Obama and Hillary Clinton. Come on, baby. Gingrich says House GOP must broaden Biden investigation to include Hillary Clinton and Obama. My George ain't clever enough to hatch a scheme like this. You're right. Joe Biden's not smart enough. Who is really in charge here? Obviously, Joe Biden's dementia is the feature, not the bug. Barack Obama's in charge. Barack Obama's running the government, obviously. This is Barack Obama's third term, obviously. And when he tries to shove Michelle in there, it'll be his fourth term, fifth term, and ninth term, whatever. So this is the entire government, the entire Democratic Party is a proxy for Obama and Clinton, and so we should charge them too, obviously. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich says that Republicans in the House should expand their Biden investigation to look into Democrat politicians such as Obama and Clinton. I think there's a second reason for dramatically broadening this investigation, Gingrich said on Solomon Report's podcast. I'm working now on a series of articles making the case that it's really about the weaponization of governments, the collapse of the rule of law, and the rule of power. Really, this involves three principles. It involves Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. Uh-oh. Baby, buckle up. Come on. Buckle up. There's going to be rocky roads ahead. Rocky roads, certainly, in the political landscape. And the more the political landscape careens into chaos, the more the financial landscape will careen into chaos. Clearly, the people who are in charge of the financial health of this country, they can't even manage their own health. We're about to show you a clip of Mitch McConnell from yesterday that proves that we really are run by a gerontocracy. Sick individuals. They can't manage the financial health of this nation. Now it's time to diversify. Diversify with my friends at Allegiance Gold. My friends at Allegiance Gold will help you have peace of mind by diversifying your investment just a little bit into something that actually maintains actual, true, real value. Get up to $5,000 on a free qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithbenny.com today. Protectwithbenny.com today. Don't wait. Take control of your retirement. Take control of your assets. Diversify into gold. I even have a little bit in the studio right here. Boom. Shakalaka. I have my Allegiance Gold. This was a purchase that I made. Bring some of the coins to the studio. Have a little gold to roll around like, I don't know, like I'm a golem. Fine by me, ladies and gentlemen. I like having gold in my hand. It means a real asset that cannot be messed with by Janet Yellen, Joe Biden, and these cretins that run our government. Protect yourself today with my friends at Allegiance Gold. Okay, baby, what do we got here? We got Donald Trump on board. Donald Trump's on board. I'm going to lock up the opponents because they are doing it to us, Donald Trump said in a Glenn Beck interview. Glenn Beck asked if he regrets not putting Hillary Clinton behind bars. I have asked the same question of people inside of the Trump team, and guess what they tell me? These people say, you know what? We thought that it would be best for the American people if we did not have a weaponized government going after our political opponents. Even if Hillary Clinton was guilty as sin, we thought it'd be a bad look, and we thought the nation needed to heal. Well, y'all were stupid, and you made the wrong bet. And we could have actually had a much better country if you had just done what Donald Trump had promised, which was to put Hillary Clinton in jail. I call balls and strikes on this show. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump. This was a massive critical error. He was surrounded by simps and gimps for the deep state, and he did not have the hardened gut and the iron spine enough in the people that surround him to say, we must go after Hillary. We must appoint a special counsel immediately, as you promised, sir, to investigate Hillary Clinton and her crimes. You clearly can't delete all of these government emails. You clearly can't destroy your devices. Clearly the Clinton Foundation is corrupt. But if you do not strike first, well, now you see what's happening with Donald Trump. Here's Donald Trump on the phone with Glenn Beck from a couple of days ago. I thought this was very, very interesting. This is Donald Trump 2.0. It's very different, Donald. Watch.
You said in 2016, lock her up. And then when you became president, you said, we don't do that in America. That's just not the right thing to do. That's what they're doing. Do you regret not locking her up? And if you're president again, will you lock people up?
Well, I'll give you an example. The answer is you have no choice because they're doing it to us. I always had such great respect for the office of the president, the presidency, but the office of the president. And I never hit Biden as hard as I could have. And then I heard he was trying to indict me, and it was him that was doing it. You know, I don't think he's sharp enough to think about much, but he was there.
Are we going to learn our lessons? Listen, as a parent, are you a parent? Are you a parent? I'm going to be joined by young Jaden here in just a moment, the brave young man from Colorado who's 12 years old, and he has great parents. And his parenting, the parenting is obviously working with Jaden. If you're a parent, you realize that you must have a consequence for your children to learn. It is not bad for the country for there to be consequences to purely and obviously illegal activity when it comes to Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. That's not bad. That's not evil. If they committed crimes, prove them in a court of law and throw them in prison as they belong. Put them in Guantanamo Bay, as far as I'm concerned. Donald Trump made this promise, and damn it, he had better make good on it in Trump term 2.0, which I believe is fastly approaching. Remember, the most important line ever uttered at any debate at any time in American history. Go.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
How dark, how deep, how corrupt, how evil, how vicious does the well go? How sick are these people? Tucker Carlson, who is now utterly unchained from the corporate media, lawyers and executives at a publicly traded company telling him what to do. Remember, Tucker Carlson has worked for CNN. Tucker Carlson has worked for ABC. Tucker Carlson has worked for MSNBC. That was a crossfire. That's a crossfire. Tucker Carlson had a show on MSNBC. Tucker Carlson has worked for NBC. He's worked for Fox. He's worked for all these corporations. This is the first time in Tucker's life that he's really not had a corporate boot on his neck. And now Tucker Carlson is doing interviews, and he's spitting facts and fire. Tucker Carlson claims that Barack Obama enjoyed smoking crack and having gay sex. Nobody reported on it ahead of the 2008 election. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let this clip simply stand on its own. This is in a podcast that was released yesterday. Tucker Carlson saying, whoa, you don't understand. For Access, the media didn't report on the verifiable allegations, credible allegations of Obama and his really, as Tucker would say, very creepy personal life. Now, I want to preface this by saying the individual that Tucker Carlson is talking about here is real. What's his name? What's his name again? Larry Sinclair. Larry Sinclair is a real person. There is no reason to doubt his allegations. And more importantly, there's a really, really creepy twist on this. Did you know that the Biden family tried to, effectively jailed him? Was able to jail Larry Sinclair? This is absolutely wild. How deep does the well go? How black does the well go for our ruling class oligarchical elite? These sick, degenerate tyrants. Tucker, take it away.
People I love and know really well, and the media is too, by the way. I mean, the media is reporting on government, but it's also dependent on government. You know, in 2008, it became really clear that Barack Obama had been having sex with men and smoking crack. And a guy came forward, Larry Sinclair, and said, I'll sign an affidavit. And he did. I'll take a lie detector. And he did. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well, that was obviously true. Nobody reported it, not because they were squeamish about sex or drugs, but because the Obama campaign said anyone who reports on this gets no access to the Obama campaign. And so they didn't report on it.
So I want to make this very clear that this is the verifiable physical evidence that we currently have about Barack Obama's creepy personal life. And why do we report on this? Is it really our business? Well, kind of. One, you're a public official. And it doesn't matter either way for me, but you're a public official and you've lied to us. We know, and we'll put the letter up on screen. We know that Barack Obama wrote to his former girlfriends about his fantasies of having sex with men. This is in Barack Obama's own hand. This is his own letter. There's not a single person on earth who has questioned the authenticity of this letter. It's the letter that he wrote to his ex-girlfriend saying that I fantasize about making love to men every single day, but in my mind. Okay? Barack Obama's biographer, a man named David Garrow, who is not a Republican, who is a deep admirer, I suppose you could say, about Barack Obama. He gave an absolutely astonishing interview to Tablet Magazine 4 weeks ago, where he said, no, Barack Obama's entire life is a lie. Everything this man has ever done has been a lie, a seething, slithering lie in order to assume and collect power. This is Obama's own biographer, the guy who knows Obama personally, was able to interview all of his ex-girlfriends. Why does it fall to him? Why does it fall to us? Where was the press? Where was anyone asking these questions? If you want to know how protected this man is, ask yourself, why is it just now that we are finding this physical letter from his girlfriends again? Is it my business? Yes, because he's running for public office. And so these things matter. He's running for public office. Do you think if a guy wound up dead in the Mar-a-Lago pool, if Donald Trump's personal chef wound up dead in the Mar-a-Lago pool and he was found naked, floating in the pool, that there wouldn't be questions about Donald Trump? What universe do you live in? Tucker Carlson effectively saying that Donald Trump, while Barack Obama is so protected that they won't even ask questions about his utterly creepy, perhaps completely and totally illegal. What do I mean by illegal? Well, you can't smoke crack. You're not allowed to do that. That's what Larry Sinclair says he did with Barack Obama multiple times. Did tons of illegal drugs with Obama. You can't do that. You're not allowed to even ask these questions. Leave the sexuality aside. What? Okay. Apparently Tucker Carlson has an interview with the guy. Why don't we know about it? Well, there's another clip of Tucker Carlson talking about something called Operation Mockingbird. And what is that? That is the operation for our intelligence agencies to effectively control what people can see via the corporate press. We talked about this at the start of the show. Let's continue. What Operation Mockingbird is, which is a real thing, is in the 1970s, there was an entire operation where the CIA controlled journalists and controlled what those journalists said. And Tucker Carlson said that that's still ongoing right now, and he knows the journalists at CNN who are effectively just communicators for the deep state. Watch.
Sure you know. And, there are a lot of anchors who, including people I know well and have worked with at different networks. I'm thinking of one in particular, a national security reporter who is just a mouthpiece for the Pentagon and the CIA and is knowingly telling lies on their behalf. That's very, very common, very common. And I can think of a number of people at CNN who I know for a fact are doing that exact thing. And so, they're reading government propaganda from the intel agencies knowingly. And I'm sure they've got some internal rationale that allows them to get up in the morning and face themselves despite having done something that dishonest.
So Tucker Carlson saying that they're running out of options here with Donald Trump, that Donald Trump is getting more and more popular. In Tucker Carlson's bombshell interview with Trump last week, again, we thank you and we thank the brigade, of course, for watching. We had record viewership. We had 50,000 people concurrently watching. It was unbelievable. But Tucker Carlson asked again and again and again, Are they going to kill you? Tucker Carlson saying that's their last option with Trump. Watch.
What do you think the future holds? Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, are they going to let Trump be president?
No, of course. I mean, look, if, they protested him, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times. And every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously, and no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, they have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him.
They can't have him because Donald Trump calls out both sides, much like we do on this program. I tell you often that I hate Republicans more than I hate Democrats because at least the Democrats stab me in the face. It's nice to know where the knife's coming from. The Republicans will shiv me in the side or shank me in the back. And the person who's done the very most of that has been Mitch McConnell, who, of course, hasn't uttered a single word about Joe Biden's family corruption. In fact, Mitch McConnell has gone and hugged Joe Biden. Give me that photo. Give me that photo of Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell hugging each other. Mitch McConnell sitting there with his flimsy, flabby, China-loving arms around Joe Biden's flimsy, flabby, gerontocracy in a single image, China-loving arms. Man, gerontocracy, the rule of the old. And the old is an old system, not necessarily age, because Donald Trump is in his 70s as well. But Donald Trump's a very different type of animal. Donald Trump hates this regime, hates this system, is an American patriot, and calls out the corruption of Mitch McConnell making untold millions in China. Joe Biden doing the same thing. Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell are part of the same party. They're the same people. And so that's why they threaten him. I loathe Mitch McConnell. But I really loathe the people who are around Mitch McConnell because Mitch McConnell is obviously slipping faster than Joe Biden even, which is pains me to say because we do a Joe Biden dementia episode once a week. Yesterday, Mitch McConnell had a seizure on camera, had the stroke effectively on camera. Mitch McConnell blanked, had a miniature stroke, and just couldn't operate. Had to be saved by some battle axe Karen staffer of his. Here's the totally unedited clip directly from local news of Mitch McConnell being asked if he wishes to run again in an election upcoming in 2026. Watch this response.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
God, the gaslighting from the staffer. Oh, speak up. Speak up. See, it was because he couldn't hear your question that he just gripped onto the podium like this and went and stared off into space. Speak up, please. You're the problem. Oh, these sick monsters. So I'm going to speak to you directly. You Mitch McConnell degenerates. You necrophiliacs for power. You people who will violate a warmed over corpse, which is what Mitch McConnell is at this point. I am the only person that seems to care about Mitch McConnell or Joe Biden. What do I mean by that? Only a person that cares about them, that has like a soul in their chest, would actually want these two men to see and seek the help that they need inside of a hospice home. That's where they belong, not foisted into a arena that is for young men, an arena that requires an enormous amount of work and battle. They are now emblematic of an America that is fading, that is decaying before our very eyes, an America that you don't recognize and I don't recognize. And those men are going to stop at nothing to try and imprison Donald Trump because he threatens them and their power, and they've searched their entire lives. They've spent their entire lives selling their souls for that power. These people are demons, and the people around them are necrophiliacs. They are threatened as well by the retirement of their bosses. That would mean they'd have to go get other jobs, and their pensions might be cut. I know DC, and I know this system. There are so many people that benefit by just keeping Joe Biden in office, so many people that benefit by just keeping McConnell in office, and they are sick monsters, goblins. You people disgust me. So, I'm going to call it out. Luckily for us, we have the stones to actually call out both sides. McConnell needs to retire. Biden needs to obviously face trial. Maybe they could watch. When Joe Biden faces trial, they'll argue that he's mentally incompetent. Watch. Dianne Feinstein. There are a bunch of members of Congress that are in their 80s, 70s, 80s. We are run by a gerontocracy. George Soros is 93. Klaus Schwab is 86. Klaus Schwab's father was a munitions manufacturer for the Nazi Party. Oh, did you know that? We are here to call out truth, and we'll call it like we see it. And the reason why we can do that is because of you. You allow for us, the Benny Brigade, allow for us to have the liberty to cover and to speak truth because we have no strings to hold us down, because we haven't sold this show to some corporation, even though many have tried to buy it. We haven't sold out. Our loyalty is to you and you alone. Please join the Benny Brigade. Go to BennyJohnson.com/brigade. Go to the Benny Brigade and sign up. $5 a month, one free month if you sign up for an annual subscription, and a free gift from us, the official Benny Brigade keychain. That is currently being created right now, and we have the footage. Look at this. Can you make that bigger? Look at that. Those are the sweet hands of American patriots creating the Benny Brigade keychains. Look at all those, ready to be shipped out to the salty army. Come on, baby. You ain't based unless you have your official handmade leather keychain from the Benny Brigade. Look at that sweet press. That is the Benny Brigade logo getting sizzled right onto the back there. You see that salty tank? You see that tank with the salt shaker on it? Come on, baby. You want one, and we'll send you one free if you sign up for an annual membership to the most exclusive and the most powerful members-only club online. Keep us going, keep us free, keep us based, and support our work. And thank you so very much. The first batch of these keychains get shipped out tomorrow. We've been telling you September. The first batch gets shipped out tomorrow, and they will be delivered. They will be delivered. We'll have a hashtag. We'll ask you to send us photos of it. We'll be highlighting all the people in the brigade. And, of course, people in the brigade get a chance to ask questions of our incredible guests and all these other members' perks. So thank you so much for joining the Benny Brigade. We are Legion. We are the Salty Army. And there is one young man who is delivering salt unlike anyone else that I've ever seen his age. This young man's name is Jaden. He's from Colorado. He's a young man who wore a Gadsden flag to his school and had a filthy, dirty Marxist teacher come in and tell him that the Gadsden flag was, well, a symbol of slavery, when actually it's a symbol against slavery, the enslavement of tyrants, the British colonial rule. The Gadsden flag was a uniting flag for all of the colonies against the tyrants of England. What does it say when teachers want to ban that? It means that they are the tyrants, and they wish to ban us, uniting together to fight their tyranny. Ladies and gentlemen, this young man was kicked out of school, and then he stood up, and he changed the country in doing so. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, for the very first time, Based Jaden. Welcome to the show, Based Jaden. I love your hat. I love your Tri-Corner Revolutionary Patriot hat. That is a beauty, young man.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're the most notable, memeable, based 12-year-old possibly that ever walked the earth in America right now. Tell me about these last 24 hours. How have they been like for you?
Well, it's definitely been better than yesterday, because now that it went viral, I'm treated like a celebrity. It's crazy. I'm definitely famous at my school and worldwide. I'm just glad to get my story out. I find that I'm grateful for my story being out and people can be heard and whatnot, and because I just stood up to these tyrants and whatnot, and I don't think a lot of people would do that. Well, I guess I'm raising my voice, not that way I can speak for people who don't want to raise theirs.
Yes, that's right. There are a lot of people that are crushed by this tyrannical system, by these neo-Marxists in the school system every single day, and they don't fight back. And you fought back, and it was really powerful. Talk our audience through what has happened recently, because you've just won, right? Not only did you have the governor come and back you up in the state of Colorado, but the school board had an emergency meeting to say you're right and the communists are wrong. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's got to feel great, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the school board effectively said that you are allowed to wear your Gadsden flag patch. Is that right?
Yes. It was very nice. And I'm happy now that I can wear my patch like I should be allowed to in the first place. I'm just annoyed that this even happened. But at least I made it known that I made it known that I stood up to this tyrannical little system in our school, and now it's much looser with the. And also, one funny thing, kids are printing out "Don't Tread on Me" and putting it on their locker, and it's really annoying to the teachers.
So wait a second. So you're inspiring your own Gadsden flag revolution in your school?
Yeah. In a couple of days, I'm going to get like a order of like 40 Gadsden patches. Not that big, like about, let's see, I'll take this off. 40 of these,
Nice.
and I'm going to give them all to my friends.
Nice. And so can you talk me through what inspired you to wear the patch in the first place, the tri-corner hat? You're clearly a fan of the American Revolution. Was it your parents? Was it a book that you read? What is it that inspired you to love our American Revolution so very much?
I mean, I guess my mom, she read history books, which might sound lame, but also it taught me like everything about the American Revolution. Also, Connor Boyack, amazing dude. He wrote the Tuttle Twins. I love their book series. They really teach important lessons, which helped me become who I am now.
Yeah, Tuttle Twins are awesome. What is your favorite part about the American Revolution?
Probably the Boston Tea Party. It's just saying that, hey, it's just giving them a wake-up message and whatnot. Like, hey, we're going to revolt against you. It's just, yeah.
Could you believe that the teachers in your school were so offended by the story of America and how we became a country? Because that's really what's at play here. They just don't like America, and they're offended that America even exists. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, that's a really popular meme template. The Beth Danjuma, the vice principal, was like, it's the ATF is the vice principal, and me who owns a shotgun, which is below the limit of feet or something like that. There's dozens of memes. I love them all.
So in this is the meme template. This is the meme template. Talk me through like what was going through your head here.
Well, when she was like talking about it, like saying that, well, it's related to slavery. No, it's not. And my mom clearly made that truthful, and like she said, kind of knocked some sense. I was quiet because obviously I didn't want more beef than we already had. I just mainly kept my mouth shut that much. But she was just ranting on about saying that it's connected to slavery and whatnot. No, it's not. And I was smirking because I was smiling, trying not to laugh because she didn't know what she was talking about. It was hard not to laugh.
You have become a meme because you handled that circumstance so calmly and so coolly with such high tea, such a Chad. And now the entire country is making memes of you. Every meme I see in my timeline now looks like this, is some form of this template. You also took a photo next to your teacher's car. Can you talk me through whose vehicle is this?
Maybe hers. I don't know. You can't really tell whose cars it would belong to which teacher, but you see me looking at it, confused why they can make America green again and don't mess with trans kids, which I definitely don't like because I'm from Texas, and it's just kind of dishonoring the Texas and whatnot. I'd rather be most of these don't make sense, and also she can share her opinions, which is perfectly fine. The First Amendment, freedom of speech, but I cannot share mine. Like, I wasn't even like ranting. I was literally just wearing it, and then I get called to the front office missing a couple of hours of class and whatnot. That's basically, I was just walking back to my mom's car because we were going home due to I couldn't go to class unless I take that patch off, which I definitely didn't want to take that patch off. I'm not going to kneel down and obey you, not for this. No, definitely not.
Yeah, that's right. They're allowed their freedom of speech. They're on that Marxist vehicle with every slogan and every bumper sticker that you could possibly imagine shoved on there. And that's the teacher driving that into work at a school. And you're not allowed to have a backpack that also has the Doge meme on it. Michael the Archangel, right?
Yeah, I can show you it here.
Yeah, hey, let's see.
Here. Just putting this in the right place because I had to take it off to show you the size. Here it is. J-Rod for Vice President, Revolution and whatnot. You see it says based and 6 separate tyrants. You can't see it. It's in the shade. Thus always a tyrant. And she asked me before my mom got there, what does that mean? Is it offensive? It looks offensive. Like, I think I see blood. And I'm like, well, you know how we revolted against the British? And she's like, and then like we got in this conversation, which ended in like, I'm not going to argue with you. So then I just sat in the front office for a couple of hours and whatnot. My other patches are St. Michael the Archangel, another green one, the Doge, which I like, Bear Arms and Bitcoin, 2020, and Don't Tread on Me. That is my backpack.
Jaden, you are inspiring so many people. You're giving hope to so many people because everyone is looking for someone to prove that this country isn't lost and that there's some hope for the future. And you've inspired so many by standing up. What is it within you that makes you say, no, I'm not going to kneel to your communist demands?
I mean, I guess maybe I have a bit more common sense than other people, my other students, because I guess I guess I have common sense. Like, that's not right. Kneeling, taking my patch off. No, in fact, like when my science teachers said that she had this ridiculous rule. If you took printed notes because no one was returning their notes. You had to leave a shoe. And she said, raise your hand if you think that's a ridiculous rule. And I raised my hand. I was the only one. And she's like, yeah, I agree with you. It is a ridiculous rule. And it was funny because no one else raised their hand. I mean, I guess they were too shy or just complied and just thought what the teacher was probably going to think. But yeah, I guess I have a different mindset than the rest of my school.
Yeah, you stand up for what's right, and I think that's really powerful. Truth really shall set you free. Truth are what memes are made of. You've been made into a meme, a lot of memes. I would like to do a little meme review with you, pop some of these up on screen. Don't tread on me. Your backpack is now the new Gadsden flag. What do we got next? Don't tread. Okay, there we go. Did you know that you're an icon, young man?
When I run for president, maybe in a couple 18 years, maybe, I'm probably going to use that as my slogan. Don't tread on me. It definitely go up if people can remember it, of course. But yeah, I'm also thinking of making a patch of me. We're getting in contact with people of that, so be on the lookout.
Okay. I will write you your first campaign donation when you announce your run for president. Okay, they've turned you into the flag. That teacher, man. Does that teacher know that she's a meme? What is she? Is she the principal?
Vice principal. I haven't seen her. She's probably just crying in her room because you're made in. I mean, I am popular for a good reason, but imagine not being popular for a bad reason. Like, geez, you can see her well, I don't like you. Look, I mean.
Yeah, Jaden. I don't think she likes you. Do you know that you're riding into battle with Mel Gibson and Donald Trump?
Yeah, I saw that. That's in The Patriot, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, I've watched a bit of movies.
Remove the flag. No. Remove it. No. Did you ever? Is this a symbol of the slave trade?
Yeah, that's a funny one.
I don't know, man. This teacher, she didn't know who she was messing with, apparently. She didn't understand how memes work when she called you in and tried to be a dirty Marxist and remove your incredible flag patch. What are you in for? I wore a Gadsden flag in 2023. Sorry, Jaden. Straight to jail. Do you like this one, Jaden?
Yes, I do. Hilarious.
All right, there you go. Now, are you running for your school office? I heard you were running for office at your school. You were running for class president.
Vice president. I'd run for president, but they have this rule where you can only be an 8th grader if you want to run for vice president. But definitely, I hope I'm going to win, but also I'm probably going to win due to I'm now popular because I went viral. But the thing is, which I think about, if I hadn't gone viral and what would happen? Because I'd probably be suspended or expelled because the reason they changed is not because they found common sense. It's because that tweet Connor Boyack posted went viral and painted a really bad picture of District 2. So yes, now I'm allowed to wear my "Don't Tread on Me" patch, though teachers give me evil eyes or bad looks in the hallways.
Because you defeated them. That's why the Gadsden flag isn't racist. Jaden, you make a good meme, man. This is a good meme.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
Did you know you're a Chad, Jaden?
Yes, I guess I'm a Giga Chad. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's nice.
You are now the Giga Chad.
Okay.
That's right. I'm not complaining. It's nice. Don't tread on Jaden. You have won.
My friend printed that out and he's like, here. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
So what is your advice to other kids your age or kids that are much older than you that might be in college and experiencing the same cultural Marxism that hates our country, that hates our founding, that hates our American Revolution, wish it never happened, and wants to try and criminalize the truth about this country by calling it racist and oppress you? What's your advice to them to stand up?
I tell them to think about this question. Would you rather live under a tyrannical, a tyrannical system, but maybe lose some friends, get some backlash, maybe get some hate comments, or would you kneel down and just have to live with this tyrannical system? That's what made me that. My mom originally didn't want some trouble, and she said, if you want to take the patch off, that's okay. And I'm like, no, I do not want to take that patch off. And she's like, okay, that's cool too. But yeah, I'm still proudly wearing my Gadsden patch on my backpack.
It's amazing, Jaden. It's amazing. I wish that more adults had your type of bravery. I wish that people twice and 3 times your age had this type of bravery. We wouldn't have had so many of the horrible things that we had to happen over the last few years. But I'm very glad that you are popular now in school. I'm very glad that you are a meme and the other kids now see how incredibly dope it is to be based. Like how popular it is to be based, and how important that is to stand up against these evil systems and these Marxist communists inside of your school system. It's got to be a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. It's truly. I feel happy now because now I don't have to miss out on class in the front office, all because I chose to wear the Gadsden flag.
Yes.
I also, Brett Cooper and Ben Shapiro had videos of me, which I covered some topic like this as well. I remember I remember putting on the St. Michael Protect Us flag, and I got close because you see that they said no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Well, St. Michael, we see him carrying a sword. So thankfully I didn't get in trouble for that, but I'm sure I was on the edge because, the Classical Academy, which is located in Colorado Springs, they have a sword for their icon, and my mom brought that up too, which was a really good point, but then they just changed the subject. They through the video, we see originally it started with slave trade and origins of slavery, and she moved on saying it was just she had to enforce it. It was a different policy, but the links she had, they weren't. I read them, and they didn't provide that good of a statement. They didn't really have an emphasis. If you want to, I bet there's articles that air is racist, roads are racist, anything is racist if someone wants it to be.
Yes.
Which is...
Yes, it's just a catch-all. It's just a slur in order to get more power for their political ideology and to stop you from living a free life. This is precisely what these people have done, and I'm, again, so honored that you would come on our program and stand up to this. You've inspired so many people at 12 years old. I can't wait to see what you do with your career, young man. We'll be following closely, and we will always support you. We have a very special gift from our program that we are sending to your school, and I think it will make you even more popular. So look forward to that. Thank you, Jaden, so much for being on the show and inspiring so many by standing up for your beliefs and staying true.
Thank you for having me, Ben, and letting me share my ideas. So thank you.
And your amazing hat. I got to get myself one of those.
Yeah, I'm using it for my campaign, like I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jaden, based Jaden. He is going places. Godspeed. Oh, God. Kids are great. It's so great to see. Oh, it inspires. It truly does. It inspires. So, what are we going to do for Jaden? Come on, Brigade. What are we going to do for Jaden? I know exactly what to do for Jaden. I saw a couple of super chats roll in on YouTube. I know exactly what to do. If you're part of the brigade, even if you're just watching this program, like you're supporting us, we are going to take some of the revenue from this show, and we are going to do something very special for Jaden. We are going to do something very, very special for Jaden. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a bunch of giant cakes with Gadsden flags on them. And we're going to have those cakes delivered. There's nothing that'll make you more popular than cake and ice cream day in middle school, right? So we're going to pay for on this show, and we're going to organize a bunch of cake. What do you think about this idea? Organize a bunch of cakes with the Gadsden flag on them, and they're going to be brought and delivered to Jaden's school, and Jaden will be like king of the cake. And all the kids will be able to like get their own little piece of the Gadsden flag and eat it. What do you think about that? I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that's what we're going to do. We've been communicating with Jaden's family. We're going to make it work. When we do it, of course, we shall film it, and we will bring it to you, the Benny Brigade, and we will say thank you for what you've done for base Jaden. Thank you for what you've done. You've made him the most popular kid in school. This kid's going places, and it should inspire you. I'm inspired. I am particularly of light spirit today. I believe that we are winning. I believe that you can feel the energy right now, that the tides are turning. The laws of thermodynamics, man, the energy of the universe doesn't change. It shifts. And there's only so much corruption that can happen before it all collapses. Young kids like Jaden give me hope. Also giving me hope, of course, is our belief in a higher power, something much higher than government, something greater than government. In fact, something that our government was designed to serve God, hence why God is listed in the first line of the Declaration of Independence, in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, why our Creator is on our currency and carved and etched into 4-foot stone in our nation's capital. Everyone's forgotten that. We haven't. That's why we have a verse of the day. From James 1:6. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Well, we've seen a lot of that here in Tampa. Saw a lot of waves yesterday, waves that crashed into the neighborhoods and onto the shores and homes here in Tampa. Those waves, of course, can be tossed and thrown with just the slightest breeze. Not Jaden. Not people who have faith. Not people who ask of God directly with faith. We do not doubt. We do not doubt on this show. We know that we will have justice in this life or the next. We know that God is a big God. And we fear God. We don't fear Satan. We don't fear the demons. We fear God. We don't fear Joe Biden. We don't fear the tyrannical Marxist teachers at our schools. We fear God. And with that, we can walk uprightly, confidently, and be upstanding. We can march forward, Christian soldier, Benny Brigade, part of the Salty Army. Whee! We march. And we march onward. And we're gonna make Jaden the most popular kid that school's ever seen. We're gonna deliver a bunch of Gadsden flag cakes for lunchtime for Jaden to pass out to all the kids as he sees fit. God bless Jaden. God bless you. Have a spectacular rest of your Thursday. It's your boy Benny. See ya.